Hey, what's up, everybody? Sorry, I'm having to deal with a little bit of internet connectivity issues right now, but I wanted to put something out here today before I get into the radio show news, and it's because I've talked about it a couple times, but I really want there to just be a short piece out there on the ethics, I guess, behind the company of Uber, which I think all of us already kind of question all the ethics on all of these platforms, but um, yeah, we've got to talk about this because I've talked about it a couple times. It's pretty disturbing. Let me shout out here real quick. What's up, Freestyle? What's up, Demo? What's up, Mr. Flex? I was just telling Flex about this too, and then I got angry and I said, I'm gonna just do this. So yeah, we've talked about it a couple times this week. If you've already heard it, that's cool. You can listen again. Or you can chime into the chat because if I make this a shorter piece, maybe more eyes will get on it because people need to hear about this. It's not in every newspaper like it should be. It's not. In fact, it's kind of localized to where the problem was, which was Phoenix, Arizona. So let's go back in time a little bit to 2018 in Phoenix, when the autonomous vehicle struck and killed um, a pedestrian who was crossing the street at night. Now, we know that the lidar doesn't has light sensitivity. We know that it has issues determining or distinguishing people of race or color. It has issues with that. It even has issues with just all kinds of things like so night, snow, rain, all of these cause problems with these cars, yet they're still out there doing their thing. And um they're basically operating where they shouldn't be operating. I mean, why are they on the streets of San Francisco? Are why are three companies, Cruise, Waymo, and you know why are these out there in San Francisco on the streets where people are, where they're videotaping them, laughing at them, they're failing all the time, they're running lights, they have nobody overseeing them? Well, that's a lot of loaded questions, but I want to get into this specific one because this has been going on for a while now, and I gotta say I'm more than heated as somebody who's probably done more Uber and Lyft rides than anybody. I would even venture to say, and many people have said this, anybody on YouTube. I mean, like I don't know anybody who's done close to 30,000 rides since 2014. Okay, and so I try and not go too far, throwing Uber under the bus or Lyft under the bus because they've helped me out to earn and whatnot. But but I'm sorry. This is a perfect situation that we need to talk about real quick. So, okay, I have said many times before that is Uber too big to fail? Is Uber too big to fail? So are are they, because they give free testing rides, they give free vaccination rides, free rides to voting, free rides for seniors, just they're tied in with every city, okay? And I've said this 100 times. I said this could lead to a lot of problems down the road, even in a free trade society where now they're live and you can publicly trade the company. So obviously, we all know if a company gets to zero, there is no company anymore. One should be in publicly traded. So if your share value gets to zero, you're done. Unless you can work out, one of the bankruptcy angles that would allow you to operate, but that's usually such a joke, and it's just kind of more of a buy some time while you try and sell it off so that your bankruptcy isn't so hardcore. So it's not really a solution. But hey, what's up, Jose? How are you? Uh, but I want to say this: in the 2018 autonomous death, Uber had a vehicle that half of the parts on the car were under 80 or were 80% or under in efficiency. However, it was live on the street. So the LiDAR doesn't work, the sensors don't work. They work 80% or 70% effective. That's not, it needs to be 100% effective or else it can't be on a road where people are. That's my opinion. That should be everybody's opinion, but I'm not going to tell you how to think. I mean, if you think that these companies should just be able to build autonomous cars, and if somebody says, "Hey, does it work?" You're like, "Not really, but it's getting closer." That answer should be pretty clear that, well, no, you can't run that on the streets where people are. And there's a reason why. If you guys don't know this, after the incident I'm about to explain, people would stand up on, and these aren't kids, these are adults, were standing up on the overpasses of, there's like certain roads that these cars can take. And they were standing up on the overpasses and dropping cinder blocks onto the autonomous vehicles after this because they're like, get them out of Phoenix. So when I say too big to fail, I'm going to go back to that a little bit. So in the 2018 autonomous death, there was what they call a test driver. However, that term is very loosely used. A driver does not mean that she was able to take control and drive the car. It just means that she's there with a communication tablet. And actually, the way that you're kind of sitting sideways. So like imagine sitting in the passenger seat, looking out the driver's side window. So you're kind of sitting sideways. So to your right would be the street and where the car is headed. So you're watching a screen like this you're in the passenger, that would be in the driver's seat. And yeah, you could poke your head up a bit like this, but it's showing you different views and you're in communication through a touch tablet. Okay. So here's where I talk about too big to fail. So this case has been going on for a while. The family is suing for over $20 million for the death of their family member against Uber. Now, all of Phoenix is called Maricopa County. Okay. That's the whole county is Phoenix, or in Phoenix is Maricopa County. So in Maricopa County, here is what happened. So it's a very complicated case. The authorities in Maricopa County said they could not prosecute the case because they had worked with Uber on several occasions. So therefore, this isn't even, they basically waited 2 years after the death to finally say, we can't prosecute this case because we work with Uber, and that would be a conflict of interest. A conflict of interest that somebody died? Here's my view is that, look, somebody died. So you guys need to be held accountable for putting this trash out on the road, right? I mean, if I'm wrong, please speak up in the chat. Please tell me I'm wrong. I would love to not have a debate, but hear a reason why I might be wrong here. But hell yeah, and I'm going to swear here. Hell yeah, you need to be responsible for killing that person. So what they did is they said, well, we can't prosecute here in Maricopa because we're too close to the problem and we work with Uber. You know, they give us free rides to voting and testing and all this, and we do like things where we need their help and assistance, and they've let us some, I don't even want to say technology, but this is terms they use. They've let us some technology to autonomous buses. Really? They're lending you autonomous secrets? What, how to kill people? Because that's all they do. Uber's not even rated in the top 100, nor has it ever been in the top 100 autonomous companies in the world, because here's why. The world doesn't view them as an autonomous company. Uber didn't view them as an autonomous company. During AB5 and Prop 22, they were saying, we're just a tech company, or we're just a middleman. We're just passing along rides to drivers. Really? Well, you call yourself autonomous. So, but they said they could not prosecute it. So you would think a federal judge might get involved and go, you are going to prosecute this case in Maricopa County because that's where people understand the problem with autonomous. But instead, they shifted it to the neighboring county. I hope I'm saying this right. Yavapai or Yavapai. It's one or the other county. And Yavapai County has never dealt with the autonomous or anything. They were stuck in a jam and they were like, okay, we don't really know what we're supposed to do with all this. You know, like, what do you want us to do? And they're like, well, here's the problem. The lady was playing on her phone. She was listening to this stuff, bunch of false information. Because they had to switch the counties, it was done in a weird way. And it still didn't come to a full conclusion because it did have to come back to Maricopa County, but they wanted a semi conclusion first. So what they did, and they did try and push it so the whole thing would go through in this other county, but luckily it's getting pulled back. And Uber, either way, is going to get hit hard for this. And thank God, because they deserve it. But so Yavapai County determined Uber was not at fault. And I'll tell you this, from what I've read, that county court really feels bad about the way that decision was handled and the fact that they were stuck with this. And how dare Maricopa County, which is a huge county, because there's other towns, of course, but there's Phoenix and there's Tucson and the surrounding areas of the two. Other than that, there's Flagstaff, not a big town, but small college town at best. But Tucson and Phoenix, that's pretty much it in Arizona for big towns. Otherwise, you're looking at populations under 5,000, really. So, how dare the biggest county in the state? And if they did push it, why'd they push it to this little county on the outskirts? Why didn't they send it down to Tucson if it did have to be? At least let it be in the hands of like another big government that can slap down on these guys. But anyway, it gets sent back to Maricopa. And the now absolved Uber in Maricopa County started like singing like to the prosecutors all kinds of information. So they basically were saying, hey, Rafaela Vasquez, the test driver of the autonomous vehicle, was at fault because she was watching her phone. She was watching a reality TV show. Now I'm gonna pull around to that here in just a second because she was very honest and it came back to bite her in this way. But so she was the test driver at the time of the accident. Uber led prosecutors to believe Vasquez was watching a TV reality show. Vasquez and her lawyers claim Uber misrepresented the video footage. So here's where it gets real. And Uber took the information and just tweaked it enough to make it horrible because they said, or she said that, yes, I was listening to a TV reality show that was a music-based one. So she was listening for the music. She did not have her phone in her hand even, and she was watching a screen like a tablet. And whenever they show this footage, I'll find some and I'll put some up for you guys, or at least pictures. But I'm going to go for, there used to be video footage up. I'm going to try and find it. But when they put that up, it makes it look like when they told the story, she was watching a reality TV show. If you look, you can never see the screen because of the angle. The camera's here coming down. You can see it's on. So you can see some illumination like in my glasses right now. But you cannot see what it is. Okay. They say she was watching a reality TV show when it happened. First of all, let's be honest. Let's be straight. That tablet was the control center communication for her to Uber that they provided for her. They said, here it is. This is what you'll watch. So she's listening to music, but they didn't tell that whole story. They didn't say she was listening to some music. They said she was watching TV. Okay, she wasn't. And also, while on that note, if you're running autonomous that doesn't work in the first place and you need a test driver in it, why in the hell would you let them take their cell phone into the car? That also should be on you, Uber. You should have demanded, hey, sign this that you have turned over your cell phone to us while you're doing this and that you don't have another cell phone or another device that could distract you. That should be basic 101 into the fine print. But here's my guess is that sadly, the more digging I do, here's the problem is that I honestly think they knew there was a chance of somebody getting hit or killed. And therefore they thought, let's not put, you can't have your cellular phone in there. You got to remember they have too many lawyers. Of course they were thinking this through. They thought if something does happen, let's leave that open in case we need to put the blame on them. So here's what's going on now. Remember, the family's trying to sue for over $20 million to something that happened 4 years ago. Okay. And it's still happening. So she said she was only listening. and that she was only looking at the Uber screen, the Uber communication screen with the coworkers in the autonomous department. So the car hits the person, kills the person. Uber is now thrown it to another county. Then they reel it back after they got the partial decision they needed. And now Uber is going to say that it was 100% Rafaela Vasquez's problem, that she was 100% at fault for this. Really? Because, I mean, first of all, you should have her back. I'm sure they had some NDA or something where in the fine print, she was just saying, hey, if somebody gets killed, it's on me. Or even that should be able to be challenged. But this just disgusts me. Like a company like Uber that still has cars out there, and Waymo and Cruise and these other junk companies that have crap out there, should all be placed on hold for this, because this is the future of autonomous. This is it. Not autonomous vehicles coming to your door to pick you up, take you where you're going, keep the car clean, drive to the next house, get the next person. That's not what they're doing. What they're doing is they're developing these shitty cars that don't work, need a ton of work before they go any farther, and they're letting them be live out on the street. At least in San Francisco, they're unmanned now. And we've seen even police officers pulling them over. They run the red light. When the police officer walks up, they take off. I put a video up about that. Do you know what Cruise got fined for that? $0. $0. If I pulled over for a cop, came up to the window and I was like, hey, flip you off, and I just zoomed off through a light, do you know that I'm going to jail? I'm going to get punished by multiple fines. They couldn't get the controller at Cruise on the phone for 60 seconds after the second time they pulled the car over, and there was nobody in it. I mean, this is beyond ridiculous that we are allowing vehicles without people that we 100% Zoom, Cruise, Waymo, Uber, all of them, Bolt, all of them. No, these don't work. They don't work. They do not work. And we're letting them be live out on the street. Embarrassing, ridiculous, and these companies need to be held accountable. Uber needs to step up and pay this $20 million and take care of Rafaela Vasquez, who they've trashed her reputation in any kind of means. So, yeah, I'm venting today because you know what? I'm pissed. I am pissed that a company is already conducting tests that they should not be conducting, and they know it. They know it. They know these are not safe. But how are we going to get better at it unless we test them live? Well, that doesn't work for me. Go find an area. We've talked about this too many times. Go find a place in the desert, build a city with the other companies, Zoom, Cruise, all these companies, y'all throw in, and have a little autonomous town with no real people. That's the solution. Okay? Because you can't just take your trash cans to LA and say, these are food delivery robots. I don't know if everybody saw, but yeah. Hey, what's up, Sergio? No, they did not settle. In fact, this is right back in the news now that they're putting Rafaela Vasquez right back in the chair again, and they're going to try and hold her responsible for the 20 million. So, shocking that it's making news again, pissing me off that it's making news again, and pissing me off that Uber doesn't want to do anything about it. Uber's just saying, like, well, it's her fault. Really? Well, she was on her phone watching reality TV. Nope. And now even Uber has admitted, nope, she wasn't. She was listening to it, but she was watching the control screen. Okay, well, now you've also lied because you said she was watching TV as if it was a fact. You threw her name under the bus. And now what? Now you're going to bring this all back around. And what's going to happen at best if Uber doesn't come to the plate? At best, they're gonna the family that wants the 20 million is gonna want it from what, Rafaela Vasquez, who is being paid $25 an hour to be a test driver for Uber. I'm sorry, guys, but let's even assume she's 35 or 40. In 50 lifetimes, she's not going to be able to pay off that 20 million. So the family of the person who was killed 4 years ago still is going to get screwed. Come on, enough of this. Enough. And Uber, you need to step up. I don't usually make videos like this, but this is just disgusting. You shouldn't be operating these damn cars anyway. And then to be saying, well, it's not our fault. It's the test driver's fault. Really? Because the test driver didn't even have the control anyway. The control center did. She had, it's not like when you're getting your driver's license, or at least for me back in the day, where you're doing like you have a driver ed car where the person sitting next to you has a brake pedal in the passenger seat. It's not like that. It's through a control center. She could type, hey, you got to stop. But the control center is supposed to be watching too. None of these people saw that person with the bike come across the street. So if that's the case, and we have a non-working LiDAR, we have sensors that don't work in the dark. It's the dark. Where it happened was a long stretch of no street lights. So, I mean, we know it doesn't work in rain or snow. So where I live in Colorado, awesome, because they would never work. The autonomous cars pull over and stop in snow because they get confused. Okay, well that's a big issue too. Okay, rain throws them off, everything throws them off. But I think it's I think it's important that everybody be aware of this, because this happened. And if you think it's not going to happen again, you're crazy. You're crazy, because they're not too full. This stuff doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. I mean, look at, again, like I know Sergio's saying right here, he's saying, he took a ride in a Waymo. It was a lot smoother than he expected. Yeah. But I'm sure, Sergio, that you've seen the stories of even the Waymos that like evade police or try and get out of cone situations and stuff, and they don't know how to do it, yet they try their best to do something that, like Mr. Flex is saying below, like there should be a kill switch. There absolutely needs to be a kill switch. In California, where the Cruise vehicle ran the stoplight after being pulled over, and a police officer approached 2 weeks ago, they need to have a fob or something that kills all of these autonomous that are driving around the city. I mean, because if the police can't pull them over, and then the police issue no ticket to Zoom or Cruise, I'm sorry, but again, I'm going to say it. If I got pulled over in San Francisco, if the cop walked up to my car and the second he gets to the window, I gun it through a light, pull over again, I'm going to be arrested, taken to jail, fined several times, and that's that. So, they didn't even issue a ticket to Zoom, because you know why? That's why. Because Cruise, Waymo, Zoom, they all pay these cities to operate products that they know don't work. Does your product work? Is it safe? Not really, but we're trying to get better at it. Okay, well then we're going to need 3 times as much as we quoted you to be able to let you operate here, since it's not really safe. Come on. Enough is enough. I mean, when autonomous gets there, that's different. Or if Sergio got to take a ride in a Waymo car, and if it was some of Waymo's paths are very, they, even in Arizona, leaving the airport, they have individual paths for the Waymo cars. So there's some of those areas where, it's just for the autonomous. But even then, it can jump a curb, it could have a problem, whatever. But there is so many problems with these vehicles that they have no right being on the road. They have no right being on the road. That's the bottom line. That's really what I wanted to get across here today. I mean, I'm coming up on longer than I wanted to, and I know I vented, but to be honest, people need to hear this, because there is no way these should be on the road. It's like those trash cans down in LA. I mean, I was watching the video. We were talking about this last night on the roundtable, that, the homeless guy that kicked the trash can into the river. Good. I hope more people do that. These things are junk. And I mean, if, in my opinion, when the Cruise vehicle took off on the officer, he should have shot out every tire, because all you heard was people on the side of the street and recording it with their phones going, oh, there goes another one. You kept hearing another one. So this is San Francisco at night, where there's bars, and people are saying, oh, there goes another one. And they're laughing as it runs the light and takes off from the cop, as if it's an everyday thing for them to see these cars screw up. You know, it's great that we want to have better technology, but we can't get too ahead of ourselves with technology, because when you do that, you're putting everybody into a very unsafe situation. And I think that we know this. We were told, initially Uber Freight, and now they've teamed back up with Waymo. Even after all the Lewandowski stuff that happened, where Lewandowski, who owned Auto Autonomous, worked for Google Alphabet, and Waymo, with their autonomous division, quit and took all of their intellectual property over to Uber and then started working for Uber. They sued him. He had to pay a fine and do 18 months in prison. But before Trump left office, he gave him a pardon. So Trump gave him a pardon so that he didn't have to go to jail for stealing intellectual property in a court case that was proven where he did it. He straight up did it. And now Waymo and Uber are teaming back up for Uber Freight. Seriously? Pull it together, guys. Like, I mean, nobody wants your junk autonomous out there. You're not, again, I said this in the beginning, you're not in the top 100 autonomous companies in the world, nor have you ever been. So as far as the world sees it, you're not Uber, you're not even a player in autonomous. When you were selling off all these junk side projects you have, that should have been where it was kept. I mean, it's a poorly run company as it is. The last thing they need to be doing is trying to, like, after debranding themselves as technology, try and rebrand themselves as technology. I mean, enough. You're not in the technology space. People don't view it that way. People know you're junk. People know that everything that you do is junk. I mean, get rideshare right. Get rideshare right and make a profit. Then let's talk. Until then, stop making robotic cars that don't work and bribing city officials by tripling, quadrupling the amount that you would have to normally pay for these kind of things. And there's nothing in place even for the police officers on what to do. They're just out there and nobody knows what to do with it. Like, a police officer walks up, he doesn't know what to do. He can't get Cruise or Zoom or Waymo on the call. There's nobody to ticket. Then after the fact, there's still nobody to ticket. Again, they shouldn't be on the streets, but if they are, why are they not subject to the same rules that I am? Why, if I did that, would I go to jail and be fined thousands of dollars, get 12 points on my license, all kinds of crap, never be able to drive again, all this crap? But they can have a vehicle that they know doesn't work, put it out there and just go, hey, man, if it kills people, it kills people. And that's just what it is. Sorry. They paid us a lot of money for that privilege, because that is what's happening. And I hate to put it that bluntly, guys. You might want to say I'm wrong. Again, please find the news that shows me I'm wrong, because you won't be able to find much news on how much money gets paid, where it's going. And then you definitely won't be able to find any regulations behind these things. Once that palm greasing has happened to the officials, you won't be able to find no regulations have been made. They don't care. They don't care at all. If it kills you, it's almost like, well, why were you in the road? Okay. I don't know what else to say, guys. Let's see what Sergio. Just because they can build it doesn't mean we need it. A lot of retrievers are going to. Yeah, well, okay, so exactly. And that's, well, with the robots too. The robots are at least being done by a company that's in robotics. Uber has said, we're not a technology company. We don't know anything, which is one of the most, during AB5, Prop 22, which is one of the most honest statements I've ever heard Uber say. We don't know anything. Exactly. We know you don't know anything. It's cool. But then stop playing around like you're autonomous, because you're not. You're not autonomous. And you've never even been in the top 100 autonomous companies. Are you kidding? Come on. This is just ridiculous. And it needs to stop. And I don't know how and where it stops, but it needs to stop. Put them out in the desert somewhere. Let all these companies operate together. Put cardboard buildings up. Go where people aren't and have things pop up like a dog or a kid. Have something jump out of nowhere. Yeah, Zooks. That's the other one too. That's that they're the other one that's operating in San Francisco too. Um, first of all the leaders in autonomous aren't even the top 10 used to include one from here is Waymo. That's it. The top 10 are now all out of country. 3 are in Germany. You got Bolt, you got some other ones. But there's nothing in this country that we're really competing in autonomous. We're just a place they're letting them test it. We're stupid enough to let it go out on the roads. And we're stupid enough to let elected officials make decisions behind closed doors on things that could kill us. And that, well, at least, okay, you're making this decision. I get that. But you at least did your due diligence and it works, right? No, not yet. It's not working. But one day we hope it will. Come on. I mean, this does not take a brain surgeon, guys. So, I don't know. I think that some noise needs to be made about this. And again, it's just wasted money too. It's money that could go to Sergio or to me doing rideshare instead of going to this, especially from Uber, going to autonomous where they have no place at all. They don't belong at all. And they're going to, I mean, I don't know. You're just going to, I don't know. Here's my view. Let the pros handle the autonomous and let it come out in the 20 to 30 years that it really is. Because really what's coming out that is autonomous is little things at a time. Like things that if you're dozing off can kind of catch you if you hit the bumps and pull you back into the lane a little bit. Or, I'm not a big fan of this one, but the parallel parking that we used to see with the Lexus. But don't show us complete autonomous cars because you know what you don't show? You don't show them killing people. You don't show people puking, throwing up, pissing, doing drugs in them, leaving the car trashed for the next pass. I mean, what are they going to do? Have an autonomous run that it goes back to get fully cleaned? And if people are like, well, there'll be a camera. Yeah, right. There'll be a camera for about a day before somebody breaks it off. Again, guys, these are not Elon Musk rockets going up into space. These are junk pieces of things put into an autonomous vehicle that cost about $180,000 each. And half of the stuff in there works 70 to 80% efficiently. To me, that is not a community standard that is okay. If I only drove 70 to 80% efficiently, they wouldn't let me drive. And I'm not talking about Uber. I'm talking about the state of Colorado. They would say, no, dude, you can't. You just, in the driving test, you just ran over a cone. You hit a curb. You almost killed a kid. Right. But the other parts, I did great. So I should get my license. No. So, okay, let's have some standards. Let's get those standards down. That's all I wanted to do was complain about Uber today. and to tell you guys, tncradio.live tonight. tncradio.live at 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern. You can figure out the others. You can call in. I will put a community post up of the phone numbers because I haven't done that in a while. And call in. Let's talk about this. And yeah, otherwise, go out there and have a great day. And if you see an autonomous car, do what you got to do. Peace, y'all.